All right, all right. You should be able to hear me. 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. But we should be good. Welcome to the live stream. As always, we got T-Bait. T-Bait chapter 470 is what is going on. I know it's Friday, and I'm actually making a video on a Friday because I actually got some time today. So it's not the norm to make a video on Friday, but your boy got some free time, so why not? Why not make a video now? So, but yeah, so I really like last chapter. So because I like last chapter so much, like I said, it got me more excited about this chapter. And so I'm really kind of looking forward to see like what exactly is going to happen with Melsry and the poison chick. See what's going on with Byron. Is Byron just out? Is he done? But yeah, last chapter I really liked. I really liked that chapter. So I was excited. So I got this video up already. But before we get started though, you guys need to drop me a like in the video, man. Help your boy out and drop a like. I need all the likes I can get, all right? So drop me a like before I start. And Micah, what up, though? How's it going? Man, it's late. It's a Friday. I got the video up on a Friday doing the live. That's not normal, but I'm free. I'm free right now. But welcome. Okay, I got the first like. That's dope. That's dope. First like. That's cool. But yeah, I don't normally be doing it on a Friday, but boy got some free time today, so gotta get it started. But like I said, I really like last chapter. So because I like last chapter so much, I'm just like, okay, let me hurry up and try to get a live up because I'm ready. I'm ready to read. I'm ready to read and see what happens. But yeah. So let me pull it up really quick. Okay, caught. I'm wondering who got caught though, because last chapter was hunted, and it made me seem like it was about the Iron Man suits, the beast suits that they got. I'm gonna call them beast suits. So the beast suits that they got, it made me think about them, hunting, the Alacrians, the people that's trying to find Arthur and shit. That's what it made me think about. So if somebody's got caught, so I'm wondering, like, is Ellie caught? Is Kara caught? Like, we know that they're looking for Ellie now, so that's new. We know that they're looking for Ellie. Ellie's part of the mission, part of their task, where if they don't follow through, then their runes can explode and shit and use their mana and turn it against them and stuff. So we know that. So I'm wondering who got caught. What exactly does that mean? But anyway, without further ado, 470, let's get into it. So the Scythe, Melsry. Okay, so we got Melsry. Actually, let me, before I start, how did last chapter end? Just let me refresh really quick. How did the last chapter end? So just give me 1 second. Let me see. All right. So someone shifted beside me. I looked over to see my mom, partially covered in rubble. I don't even remember that. Her mom was covered in rubble. See, I need to probably read a couple paragraphs. So the crater on the far side of the room was Lance Byron. Someone shifted beside me, and I looked over to see my mom, partially covered in rubble. Kara was already back on her feet, and she was sagging. Her mana signature very weak again. I wasn't sure where the others were, so I'm guessing she's talking about Seth and Mela and Enola. An overwhelming mana signature approached. I turned toward the source, where the entire front of the Earthborn Institute had been blasted away. A silhouette floated within the dust, one arm holding the other, so she's hurt. The figure's posture seemed fatigued and even hanging in the air. As she drifted forward, her dark eyes came clear, and Scythe Melsry was staring down at me, and only me. Okay, cool. So that's all right. So her mom's there too. I forgot about her mom being there. Byron had to fight 3 people. I know, man. He had a hard task. He definitely had a hard task because he was fighting Cerys and he was fighting Cyrith. But I don't think they was really trying to like kill him, because they can control their minds really good. So they understand how the runes and shit work with the power. Them, if they think differently, then their runes might, go crazy and shit. And I think it's probably even stronger for the sides because their runes are stronger. They don't have regular just crests and marks and stuff. They got regalias. So I think it's even more powerful for them where if they think wrong, their mana is really going to go crazy and kill them, like, really quickly. So I think they have better control over their thoughts and stuff. And so I don't think they were trying to really kill him like that. So they was fighting him. He was fighting them, and he was probably getting exhausted or whatever. But I don't think they was really trying to kill him. But anyway, he had time to get away or whatever had happened. We don't know what happened with him, but Byron had time to get away, and then he ended up fighting Melsry. So, it's tough. It's tough, but he fought Melsry before, and he shouldn't be in no crater just like in the dirt, man. That shit whack. But okay, so that's how last chapter ended. So let's get into this chapter. This chapter, see what goes on. So the scythe, Melsry, drifted forward through the thick clouds of dust. The front wall of the Earthborn Institute was a ruin beneath her. The rubble strewn. Then you know it's a fucking word. The rubble strewn with prone dwarven warriors. Her stark white hair was pink with blood, and she supported one arm with the other, even as she flew. She was entirely focused on me, her expression cold and businesslike. There was something so terrible about the simple math of her bloodlust that I had to look away. Seth and Mela were nearby, half trapped under a pile of broken stone tiles, a quivering bubble shield holding back the heavy chunks of crumbling wall. Seth grimaced in concentration, his eyes shut tight, sweat scoring little lines through the muddy dust cracking his face. Mela was tucked into the crook of his arm. Boo growled, furiously, not ferociously, that's furiously, as he dragged himself free of the rubble. The Alacrian stood. I remember she put the shield arrow on him, and to shield him back when he was getting like slammed into the ground and stuff. I'm also wondering that too. I'm also wondering where you're talking about Chul. You're talking about Chul. I wonder where Chul is too, because he had to have recovered by now. And the motherfucker got to be powered up too, man. Because, man, listen, Chul was so disappointing. I thought Chul was going to be so dope. But he lost to Viessa and Melsry. Like, yo, you should be cracking heads, man. And I was so disappointed about Chul, man. All because they had played some games with like the visions and the illusions or whatever. Like, you really getting caught on some illusions, man? Like, you can literally fly. He can detect mana from a long distance. Like, you can't sense and be like, okay, let me see. I don't look like that's the real person. But I get it though. His character, he's straightforward. Like, he likes one-on-one fights. He just likes to fight straightforward. But you think about it, the only people he really had to fight were like, the Beast and stuff and the Beast Glades and shit. So, those are the only ones that he's been able to fight. So he's probably not used to like fighting other humans, multiple people at a time, because he's the only one that even likes to fight anyway, because everybody else wants to cower and hide. They want to hide in the hearth, or the hearth, however you want to call it. But anyway, yeah, I'm curious to see when he's going to pop up again. He did destroy 2 wraiths. Yeah, he did. Let me give him a little bit more credit. He did defeat 2 of them. But here's the thing though. He defeated 2 of them, but in the process of defeating them, he was gonna die. So he died killing 2 wraiths. It's kind of what I would call it, and that's an accomplishment. I'm not saying he's weak. I just thought that he was more on the lines of like, what level would I say? So you got retainer level, you got scythe level, and then above scythe level is when I get to like the Asura, like basic Asura level, right? So like you got somebody like Aladari. It's like a basic Asura level. You got somebody like Ren. Ren is basic Asura level. So they're Asuras, but they're not Asuras that were made to fight. You get what I'm saying? They're not Asuras that were like, you know, battle tested and warriors. They're not like the dragons and stuff like that, right? So they're just basic Asura levels. And then above basic Asuras, you got the people who are trained to fight. You know, you got somebody like I'm trying to think of his name. What's the bitch name from the dragon that damn, I can't think of the name. He's the one with the galaxy eyes. And, you know, fucking Arthur was just clowning him and shit. I can't think of his name at all. You got Aldir, but then what's the other guy's name? Who am I talking about? Aldir, and then the other one. It's gonna pop up. Y'all gotta help me out. Aldir and the other dude that was the dragon was let me see. Hold on. I got it in my notes. It's probably in my notes. Since you guys not helping me out, I can probably find it in my notes. Let me see. Where? Oh, here it is. It's right here. Winsome. That's his name. Winsome. That's what I'm thinking of. Winsome. Shit. And then you late, Micah. You late. Anyway. Well, yeah, Winsome. So what was I saying? So yeah, so you got people like Winsome who was like battle trained Asuras. So you got like that level of Asuras, and then you got like a tier below that level would be like the you know, like the students, like the student battle ready Asuras. Somebody like Tacy, right? Somebody like Tacy. Somebody like maybe the ones that Aldir defeated. You know, that he one shot at everybody in that video I had made. So, you know, students like that. And then above them, you got like, you know, like I said, Winsome, you got Sharon, you got Vakajor, you know, you got those people. And then above them, that's when you got like the top tier. That's when you got people like Aldir. That's when you got people like the one dude that taught Arthur in the Ether Orb. What's his name? Aldir and whatever his name is, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you got people like him. So you got the top tier. So anyway, I consider Chul to be like somewhere around. When he first got talked about and we first introduced him, I thought he was gonna be somewhere around that like. I thought it was gonna be somewhere around, I would say, that like above a student, but like not as strong as Winsome, but like a little bit below that. So like somewhere between a student level Asura and like a battle tested Asura. So I thought he was gonna be somewhere along those ranges, and he's not. Where did I have him? I had Chul below Aladari and Orloth and Kiros. Like, that was the level I had him. I got him below them. But he might be different now. But I had him, like, below Aladari, below Orloth, below Kiros. And, like, he was, like, somewhere around, like, Prahada, like, one Wraith, like, level is where I had him at. He beat 2, so he's probably a little bit stronger than that. He's probably closer towards Aladari level. And, you know, Orloth, like a basic Asura, he's probably closer towards that basic Asura level, but I don't know. We still need to see more fights. So anyway, long story short is that I thought he was going to be a lot stronger than he actually ended up being. But because we know that he got healed from the tears from Arthur and stuff, so he should be getting a power up. He's probably got more mana now, because I know his big problem was that he burns through his mana really, really quickly. And so maybe he has more mana now. Maybe he has more control over it. Something along those lines. So it'd be cool if he had showed up at some point. So I'm with you. So anyway, let me go back to what I was saying. So her hair was pink with blood, and she supported one arm with the other even as she flew. She was entirely focused on me, her expression cold and businesslike. There was something so terrible about the simple math of her bloodlust that I had to look away. Seth and Mela were nearby, half trapped under a pile of broken stone tiles. A quivering bubble shield holding back the heavy chunks of crumbling wall. Seth is doing a really good job right now. I will say, I'm giving Seth a lot of credit. Like, this dude Let me try not to curse so much. This dude is like, he's really like staying conscious where everybody else is being unconscious, right? Seth is staying conscious, trying to constantly keep up his shield. He's been keeping up his shield for a long ass time since they first started fighting. And, you know, since they first went through the gates and stuff. And so he's been doing a good job keeping up his shield, constantly trying to protect everybody. He was trying to protect Enola. Then he started trying to protect Kara. Like he's doing a really good job with that shield. Remember when they got all remember when they got all of the the black flames, when all the black flames had came down, and then it was Ellie who had made a shield, and then beneath her shield it was Seth who had a shield, and she was like, Seth's shield is the only reason why they're not getting burned alive right now. Like, he's doing a good job, man. He's doing a really good job. So let me just give him some props. So Mela was tucked in the crook of his arm. Boo growled furiously as he dragged himself free of the rubble. The Alacrian student, Valen, we know last time he was unconscious, was in the hollow Boo's body left behind. I couldn't tell if he was alive or dead. I didn't see Kara, Claire, or Enola anywhere. Rocks sliding beneath unsteady feet drew my gaze to the rear of the room. Mom was picking herself up off the ground, her own wide eyes tracking quickly across the chamber. Man, Alice needs to fucking power up, man. She needs to get stronger. Like, she was used to fighting with the twin horns, going into dungeons and stuff like that. Like, I know her primary thing was healing, but like, she gotta have some offensive spells. She gotta have some shielding spells. Like, Alice, it seems to me like she's kind of wasted almost, like underutilized. Like, she should be like, I don't know. I'm not saying she need to be like one of those characters is like, oh, you got the powerful, you know, kind of like how the king and the queen of like the Gladers, you know, how his wife was stronger than him, and you know he was only at red core or whatever, but his wife was at, I think she was at silver core. She was at like some silver core level. She was fucking strong. But I'm not saying it got to be like that where she's like outclassing Reynolds or anything like that, but like, she's been underutilized, man. I'm just saying, she's been underutilized. Like, she should have some like, you know, super strong shields or something. She should be able to make some like healing from a distance type of, like, she should be able to do something, man. Anyway, you got Ellie doing all this progress, but Alice just sitting there just chilling, you know, like, what the fuck, like you just chilling, like, you know, while Arthur's out there fighting in the relic tombs and Ellie's out there fighting in the relic tombs and shit, like, Alice can be at home, you know, training, trying to make sure she survived too, you know, like, trying not to be a burden for Arthur and stuff, because she doesn't want to be a burden, you know. That'll make good character growth, you know, for her. That's what I would think. But anyway, so her eyes were quickly tracking across the chamber until she found me. She seemed to shrink as she let out a breath. Then her focus shifted and her face transformed with fright. My head snapped back around. Melsry was flying just above me. Biveray's spiderish silhouette was visible behind her, lurking ominously in the dust-choked void. There was a roar from Boo, and he threw himself at the scythe, claws out and fangs bared. She vanished, only to reappear on the other side of me. She reached down to grab me, but instead of closing around the front of my leather armor, her pale fingers wrapped around a bright line of silver that appeared above me. A bright line of silver that appeared above me. It must be Byron. We both regarded the manifestation with some confusion. Then the silver line twisted violently, jerking out of her hand and sending her reeling back. Boo stepped over me as Silverlight settled onto my chest. So it's Silverlight. Silverlight's the one that protected her. Okay, cool. So Boo stepped over me as Silverlight settled onto my chest, motionless once again. Mom scrambled to my side. So Silverlight was like, yeah, I ain't about to do shit with you. But then when you about to be in mortal peril, okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna help you out a little bit. And then after that, gonna just settle on her chest and just not move. Like, yeah, I did what I did. Now I'm just chilling. Because Silverlight apparently has a life of his own, has a whole consciousness and shit. So, that's kind of funny to me. Silverlight just like, I'll help you out a little bit. Yeah, I'm done. That's it. I did my job for today. I gave you a little bit more time. A little bit more time to survive. Anyway, so Boo stepped over me and Silverlight settled onto my chest, motionless once again. Mom scrambled to my side a moment later, healing magic already glowing around her hands. Byron, leaning on the crimson spear, appeared in the corner of my eye. Okay, so Byron's up. Byron's not down. Okay. My breathing eased as the scrapes and deep bruisings of the explosion were washed away by Mom's touch. It's okay, Eleanor. We're here, Kara said from somewhere behind me as Hornfells moved aside the rocks crushing down on Seth and Mela, freeing them. Hornfells. Is that the dwarfs? I'm guessing that's just the dwarfs. Meldry let out a manic laugh, half turning to... She's fucking crazy, bro. Half turning toward Bivray, still mostly hidden in the cloud of dust. You've got to be kidding me. Do you all really plan to die for this brat? No one moved. No one spoke. Pressure built and built in my chest until it threatened to push tears from my eyes as I considered the people around me. Using Silverlight like a cane, I pushed myself up. Mom tried to move in front of me, but I rested my free hand on her shoulder. She searched my eyes, and an emotional alchemy of terror, acceptance, and desperation reflected in her own. It was a look that told me quite clearly that even though she knew she couldn't protect us from this enemy, she would die trying, and she was at peace with that. But I wasn't. She's not. She's not at peace. With a gentle but firm pressure, I encouraged her to move aside and step forward. A low moan like a whine quivered from Boo, but he stayed where he was. My left hand balled into a tight fist around Silverlight, still in the shape of an unstrung bow. Had ended up. Wait, what am I talking about? Still in the shape of an unstrung bow. I had no idea where my other weapon had ended up. Killing me won't bring back your sister. That's basically what it's saying. And I lost my place. Okay, Meldry regarded me as if I told her that 2 and 2 made green. 2 and 2 made green. Not 2 and 2 made 5. No, 2 and 2 made green. Bring her back, she scoffed. You misunderstand. I have no love for Viessa, nor she for me. Your death simply balances the scales. It is a duty, not some wrath-filled pursuit of a broken heart. I am Vitraborn, a scythe, not some angry child storming across both continents seeking revenge. I am Vitraborn as well, Kara said, her voice strong even if her mana signature radiated weakly. But there is no need to be a slave to the Vitra clan's selfish wishes just because their black blood runs in my veins. Scythe Viessa died doing the High Sovereign's bidding, did she not? Blame him for your misfortune. Not... Oh, shut up, the Scythe snapped. A muscle twitched in her jaw, making her look slightly crazed. I'm tired and I'm sick of this pointless fight. Either let the girl die or die to prolong her life by mere moments. Either way, do so quickly and quietly because your whining exhausts me. That's funny. A sudden chill swept through the chamber. Like a dark cloud had just crossed over the sun, I felt an outpouring of power from the city behind Meldry. Then a mass shifting of mana. Okay. Maybe Winsome and Gideon, they got some more tricks. They got some more stuff coming, maybe. As I extensively focused more fully on my enhanced senses, I felt the distant army of mana signatures snuffing out like so many candles. Mela gasped, sinking to her knees. One of her spell forms was active, radiating mana. Her eyes were shut tight, but moving rapidly behind the lids. The battle, I'd felt people die before, but this was different. Someone had done something, figured something out. Okay, who's dying though? Who's dying? Let me go back and read. Is it Alacrians that are getting their life snuffed out, or is it Dicathrians? So, A sudden chill swept through the chamber, like a dark cloud had just crossed over the sun. Okay, so dark clouds, a sudden shift, chills. I'm thinking of wraiths, maybe? An outpouring of power from the city behind Melsry, then a mass shifting of mana. Okay. I instinctively focused more fully on my enhanced senses. I felt the distant army and menacing just snuffing. So the distant army. So is the distant army of, is it Alacrians or the distant army of Dicathians? So they're getting snuffing out like many candles. Mela gasped, sinking to her knees. It might be Alacrians because Mela gasped, so it's probably Alacrians that's getting snuffed out because I think Mela cares about Alacrians. I don't think she cares about Dicathians. I don't think so. I mean, she's probably cool with them, but like, I think these might be Alacrians that's getting snuffed out. One of her spell forms was active, but her eyes were shut tight. The battle is, I felt people die. But this is something different. Someone had done something, figured something out. Tell her, I urged Mela, taking another step toward Melsry. I knew the scythe could snap me in two before I even seen her move, but she'd already fallen into the trap of talking instead of fighting. Ceres and Cyrith were still out there, along with Lyra, and an entire army of beast core-powered Dicathan warriors. Okay. So I think it might be Alacrians that's getting snuffed out. If I could just delay her long enough. Tell her what you see, Mela. Clouds of black mist spilling from Lady Ceres. Oh. So who is she killing, though? Clouds of black mist spilling from Lady Ceres. Mela said at once, her voice raspy. Like an army of Oh my god, let me turn this shit off. Anyway. Like an army of locusts burrowing into their skin and eating their mana. Melsry's expression darkened, and she turned away, looking out through the smashed entrance. Only then did I notice that a different silhouette was standing where the retainer had been only a moment ago. A sharp-angled lump of a body lay in a heap at the newcomer's feet, emitting no mana signature. Melsry sneered. Cyrith, stabbing poor Bevere in the back. How dishonorable of you. Oh, okay, so Cyrith is there. Okay, stabbing her in the back? She's done? A sharp-angled lump of a body lay in a heap at the newcomer's feet. So she's already dead at his feet. Damn, that was quick. I come with a message from Lady Ceres, Cyrith said, stepping forward. His black hair was wind-blown and messy from the battle, and his armor had several deep gashes in it. She would like to speak to you herself and ask that you wait until she has resolved her current task before you do anything that can't be undone. Okay, let's see what she responds, because she's fucking crazy, so we'll see how Melsry responds with this. Melsry blinked at him, her grip tightening around the two swords she carried. She spoke, what is, fuck, how you say this, fuck, melancholy? Mechanically, okay. Mechanically, so like a robot. Okay, I got you. As she turned her back on him, saying, I'll do my duty. Cyrith flew forward, his sword a dark blur. Both of hers came up to deflect the blow. Then Cyrith slid to a stop between her and us. You need not wait long, he said, his voice is level, as if they were having the discussion across the desk, not at the point of each other's blades. Scythe, Melsry, Vitra. Yet another person appeared. Okay, so we got Ceres. Ceres coming out. Okay, let me see. Limping out through the obscuring clouds, her pearl hair and white robe seemed to glow with some inner light, banishing the dust as she passed through it. Melsry turned again, watching her approach. With an inscrutable expression, Ceres, unnamed, fugitive, and blood traitor, she said, sucking her teeth in annoyance. With her focus on Ceres, I let my right hand inch toward where the string would appear if Silverlight had won. All right, I read that a little weird. I let my right hand inch toward the string. Inch towards where the string would appear if Silverlight had one. So like, Has she been able to use Silverlight at all? Because I don't remember if she's been able to use Silverlight at all. Because I remember Silverlight was a staff at first, and then it turned into a bow, but with no string. So is it going to just manifest the string? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so she's talking to Silverlight now. So, stand down, Melsry, Sarah said wearily. You don't give orders here, Melsry replied in the same tone. I'll have the blood I'm owed. My fingertips pinched the air, searching for a string I couldn't see. Please, Silverlight, you chose me, so help me. I won't just stand there like frozen prey if Sarah couldn't talk down Melsry. Pearl hair spilled over the bright white shoulder pads of Sarah's battle robes as she shook her head. If your heart beat so fiercely for blood, why didn't you kill the lance? Because you have interrupted me, Melsry barked. But something in it. But yeah, you know what? I forgot about this. Melsry got a power up from Agrona. Remember, they all got power ups from Agrona back when Nico got his regalia. They all were getting power ups. So they're all a little bit stronger than they were before. So I forgot about that. But that makes Micah even stronger because she went toe-to-toe with Dragoth and survived. So she's actually doing better than I originally thought. I completely forgot they all have power-ups. I forgot about that. So yeah, so that's why that's why it's not as hard as I thought it would be, considering how much stronger the Lances had got. Because they all got other power-ups. They probably all got a new regalia or some shit. So anyway, so she said that she didn't kill Byron because she was interrupted. But something in the catch of her voice told me she wasn't telling the truth. Byron stiffened, looking affronted. Our battle wasn't finished yet, Scythe. You have not killed him because he is interesting to you. Oh, interesting. Like a pet interesting or like a toy interesting? Sarah said in the same tone Mom used when I was young, and she had to explain my own childish decisions to me. You crave adventure and excitement. You yearn to be challenged. It's a trait you haven't been able to escape since even before your blood manifested. To kill him would be to cut the thread of fate on his potential. Oh, so she wants to keep him alive so he can possibly get stronger and give her even more of a challenge. My fingers plucked at the air again. Futilely, how the fuck would you say that? Let me see. It's like futile, but futilely, I guess. Futilely? I hate English. Searching for a string that didn't exist, expecting and hoping that I could manifest it through sheer force of will alone. You know what your problem is, Saris? Melsry asked, her back fully turned to us now, almost as if she'd forgotten we were here, or we were there. You think you know everything all the time. Of all the sides, you're actually the most like him. That's funny. Sarah's nodded in acceptance. Perhaps this is why I can see what you have not yet accepted. In a future where Agrona has dominated both this world and Ephiodus, what role will Scythe Melsry Vitra play? What in that future would there be to excite you if Agrona had a place for you at all? This time Melsry was silent. But I can free you of Agrona's hold over you and show you a different version. So she's trying to turn her to her side. She's trying to turn her traitor. Okay. Let's see how Melsry reacts. Is she still going to be... She says she's not a child. She says she's not like just, going on this whole revenge quest or whatever. So she's not blinded. She's not like enraged and doesn't know what she's doing. She's still logical. So let's see what she says. But I can free you of Agrona's holdover and show you a different version of the future. One in which you help me to kill a god. And in doing so, see a new age of the world born. You? Melsry cut herself off with a humorless bark of desperate laughter. You claim to know me so well, and yet you expect me to turn my back on everything I fought for my entire life? To abandon my purpose? I take back what I said, Ceres. You're a fool. My fingers snagged something, and a string. Oh, so she got the string now. And a string of glistening silver mana manifested beneath them. The bow's body bent into shape, taking form. I imbued mana into it, forming an arrow, and pulled back. The string wouldn't budge. You strive for a purpose that is and has always been an illusion. Has this war not already proved it? At every step, some new power has been revealed that has made the battles before insignificant. We were made redundant by the Wraiths, who will in turn fall to the Asura. If this continues to its natural conclusion, in the end, all that will remain is Agrona himself. And you have spent your entire life fighting to ensure his future at the cost of your own. I couldn't help the surprise I felt as Melsri appeared to actually listen to Ceres. But I did not give up on my effort to draw the bowstring. No matter how I pulled, though, Silverlight refused to bend further. Maybe she's not supposed to pull. Maybe she's supposed to do something else with the bowstring. Maybe it's more like a... Maybe it's more like a gun, where it just shoots. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it just shoots. Because think about it, pulling will take a little bit more time. But if you can just lock in the arrow or manifest the arrow and then just start shooting, like literally, like start just like arrows and shit, like that'd be crazy, yo. That'd be crazy. Fucking machine gun arrows. Okay, so no matter how hard she pulled, Silverlight refused to bend further. You can't resist him, Melsri. Or no, you can't resist him, Melsri said after a moment. Even if you're right. Okay, so she's listening. She's like, okay, maybe what you're saying is true, but we can't resist him. Like, all our power comes from him. It's controlled by him. So we can't resist. If we resist, we die. Okay. You can't resist him, Melsri said after a moment. Even if you're right, and our entire lives are made pointless by the war's outcome, it doesn't change anything. The result is the same regardless of which side you fight for. The proof that it is possible to resist Agrona stands right here, Ceres said, indicating Kara. Tell her how you're still alive, Kara. Bruh, I like, man. Ceres don't even have to communicate. She don't even have to even know what's going on. She's just like, I already know what happened without even being told what happened because you're alive right now. So she resisted. So Kara, tell her how you resisted. You know, she just, man. She just knows, man. She knows. So proof it is possible to resist Agrona stands right there, Ceres said, indicating Kara. Tell her how you're still alive, Kara. It was Eleanor and her mother, really, Kara said, then continued on to haltingly explain some of what had happened. Ceres smiled victoriously, shedding some of her fatigue. See? A regular teenage girl with only a single spell form broke the power of Agrona himself. These people here, Alacrian and Dicathian alike, have risked everything to stand against him and protect each other as best they can, even against the most terrible odds. Do not tell them the result of this war doesn't matter, that their effort doesn't matter. It grew so quiet that I could hear the distant shouting orders and mechanical whirring. Somebody just left. Did somebody leave? Yeah, somebody's leaving. So it grew so quiet that I could hear the distant shouted orders and mechanical whirring or whatever of the Mana Beast suit's movements. Melsri stared at Ceres for a long time before her gaze swept across the rest of us, settling on me. I couldn't read the look we shared, but after a tense moment, she scoffed and flew up in the air, speeding over Ceres' head and vanishing into the distance. Her mana signature receded until no sign of her was left. So she just left, bro. She just dipped out. She was like, I'm guessing, here's what I'm thinking. I'm guessing she was just like, I gotta think about this. I got to think about this. So maybe she got to think about this. So she just left. She didn't even make a decision. She just like, you know what? I'm gonna just leave. She could have stayed. She could have fought. You know, she could have defeated Cyrus. She could have defeated Kara. She could have defeated Ellie. You know, she could have even defeated Ceres because Ceres is weak. You know, she seemed like she was all drained out, you know, from her using her powers and stuff. So, but she just left. So I think that's a good sign. You know, she wants to keep them alive and maybe come up with an answer later, I guess. So that's cool. So she just left. Ceres turned to watch her go, her expression blank. After a few seconds, she looked back at all of us, and it was like the breaking of a spell. Mom wrapped me in a crushing embrace, all the tension of the last few minutes seeping from her, but she didn't stay. After gently touching her forehead to mine, she hurried away, first to Valen, then to Enola, healing enough of their wounds to bring them back to consciousness. Silver-like string vanished, and the body of the bow straightened again. Ceres scrutinized it with a hint of sadness. Then her focus moved to Kara. I'm glad that you discovered how to defeat the curse on your own, although I had hoped you would. Well, yes, thank you, Kara said, her brows furrowing as she gave Ceres a slight bow. Ceres' observant eyes again flicked to me. Then she moved on to regard the 4 Alacrian students. Enola struggled to her feet to stand stiffly before Ceres, but Valen stayed sitting in the rubble, his eyes slightly unfocused. Seth and Mela stood slightly apart from each other, holding hands so tightly that their knuckles were white. These others, though, Ceres approached them, suddenly businesslike. You have done well to keep your thoughts in check, but I fear it is only a matter of time. For now, black mist spilled out of her and pushed through them. Faint against the flood of her mana, I sense her. Wait, okay. So she's doing this. So she's doing something with her mana to, I guess, either suppress or maybe she's going to take away their mana. Maybe that's what she's doing because we saw the mana signatures all like snuff out like the candles. So she's probably using her ability to just take away all their mana and leave them manaless. And then that's going to prevent their mana from powering their runes to actually, you know, go haywire and kill themselves. So that's what makes the most sense to me. So for now, black mist spilled out of her and pushed through them. Faint against the flood of her mana, I sensed theirs being pushed out of their bodies, almost in the inverse of what I could do with my spell form. Her spell form sends in mana, hers takes away mana, or pushes it out. She doesn't like absorb it into herself or anything. So I sense theirs being pushed out of their bodies, almost in the inverse of what I could do with my spell form. As one, they each sagged, forced to the ground by sudden backlash of their cores emptying. This will keep you safe until we discover a more permanent solution, Ceres explained. Do not actively attempt to refill your cores. Your body would do so unconsciously. But if you expel your mana before it can build up, you will remain safe. So, don't refill your mana, because if you get mana back, you can power your runes and it can cause problems again. So, when your body unconsciously draws in mana, expel it before it can build up to actually power your runes and you will stay safe. But don't they get weak when they don't have mana? Like, aren't they like in like a, I don't know, like sluggish state, I guess is what I would call it. Like can barely walk, can barely move. You know, it's like being in backlash all the time. But is that really true? Because Claire isn't like, you know, she doesn't have any mana anymore, but she's not going through constant backlash. So I don't know. Maybe you only get backlash when you have mana and then it gets expelled. But if everything's expelled and is expelled for a long time, maybe you don't have backlash. I don't really know how that works. But so if you expel your mana before it builds up, you remain safe. To Byron, she said, "You fought well today, Lance Wykes. I only regret it took me so long to convince you of the truth. Regardless, your commander, Aerolith, is above, arranging accommodations for all the Alacrians in the city. I believe he could use your assistance. When Byron hesitated, she added, Retainer Bivray is dead, and Melsry is no longer a threat to you. The fight may continue in other parts of your continent, but Vodorio is, for the moment, safe. That remains to be seen, he said, eyeing her distrustfully. So they talked. So they fought and talked. And then that's how he was able to get away to be able to fight Melsry. Okay, so that makes sense. I figured that she did something and it wasn't like let me try to kill him or some shit. So Byron wasn't really worn out like that. And he still technically lost to Melsry. Or at least he didn't win, I would just say. If he didn't lose, I would just say he didn't win. So he gave me a subtle nod, which caused a warm flare of pride in my chest and flew off. He nodded to Ellie. That's funny. Finally, Saris approached me, causing Boo to shuffle closer, pressing his furry side against me so I could feel the expansion of his breath and the quick rhythm of his pulse. Mom, who was now helping to heal some of the doors that had survived the explosion of the front wall, paused what she was doing to watch. There is much of your brother in you, Eleanor. Her eyes seemed to draw me deeper and deeper in, like bottomless dark pools. It is good that you are strong. This world may rely on Arthur's strength, but he in turn relies on you and your mother. She talks like she knows. She talks like she's like the old 80-year-old lady who's seen everything in the world and just has nothing but wisdom to give, you know? I mean, she probably is old as hell, to be completely honest. She probably is old as hell because we know that the strength of your core expands your life, right? Because we know that Virian's like 200 plus years old. So if Virian's 200 plus years old, Sarah's got to be at least 200, 300 plus, you know what I'm saying? You know, because of all the regalias and shit. And then also the manifested blood from what is it called? The Vitra blood. From the Vitra blood, the regalias, all that stuff. So she's got to be old too. But yeah, Sarah's like the old wise grandma, just giving nothing but wisdom. I lost where I was at, so give me a second. Okay, so there's much of your brother in you, Eleanor. Her eyes seem to draw me deeper and deeper in, like bottomless dark pools. It is good that you are strong. This world may rely on Arthur's strength, but he in turn relies on you and your mother. Her lips curved up as her brows furrowed, and she gave me a wry look. You are like the two anchors that keeps his power bound. Without you, he would be untethered, and who knows then what might become of the rest of us. Okay, I see where she's going with this. So basically, she's saying like you got Tessia, which is you know the body for the reincarnate of Cecilia, right? And then the tethers for Cecilia is Nico and Arthur. But then you got Arthur. He's supposed to be a big part of the story, and you know, he's in play. Is basically what I'm trying to say. And his tethers are his mom and his sister. It probably was his dad too until he died, but now that he's gone, it's just the two of them. And so that's true though, because if he didn't have family, Virian's also like family too. So I think Virian's also part of it too as well, you know, but not to the same level. You know what I'm saying? So. If his mom and his sister died, I mean, I kind of got this sense before, back when his dad had died. If his mom and his sister died, and I think Sylvie knows this too. If his mom and his sister died, Arthur would probably just like go on a rampage. Like he would probably just lose his mind and go on a fucking rampage. and not grow as strong as he is now or whatever. Like I think he'd end up losing his mind, going on a rampage, going into a fight that he's not ready for, and just dying. That's what would end up happening. Because it's crazy though, because Arthur, he's emotional, but he's also stoic and not emotional at the same time. Like he has so many moments of him being stoic and keeping his emotions in check and being calculating. But then it's like when it comes to his family, his emotions start flaring up and he ain't thinking straight and he start doing some shit, you know? So that's just the more growth that he needs when it comes to family. He needs to keep his emotions in check when it comes to his family. But yeah, just something I'm kind of noticing. But so you're like the two anchors that keep his power bound. Without you, he will be untethered, and who knows what might become of the rest of us. My mouth hung open, but I could not, for the life of me, think of a response to her unexpected words. But Sarah's attention was already turning elsewhere. Kara, with me, there is much to do, and I have need of you. Kara swallowed visibly. My blood and Arian, he was wounded badly. I was seeking a healer. Come. Oh yeah. Her protector, Kara's protector, the dude with the sword. Come, take me to him, Sarah said with a sharp gesture. Then she was walking swiftly away, her battle rose billowing behind her. Kara, like Byron, hesitated, but there seemed to be little choice other than to do as the commanding scythe ordered, and so she followed. I considered following as well. With the danger so suddenly dispersing, I couldn't quite convince myself that the battle was really over, and I wanted to stay busy and remain helpful. When I looked at Mom healing the worst of the wounded dwarves, though a compulsion to stay kept me where I was. Hornfels, who was in charge of the Earthborn forces, arranged to have Seth, Mela, Valen, and Enola taken up to the rest of the Alacrians taken up to where the rest of the Alacrians were being gathered into groups under the watchful gaze of an army of the Mana Beast machines. Valen and Enola, at least, had families up there and were eager to find out what had happened to them, or at least as eager as they could be given their current state. Before they left, though, Mela approached me. Each step sending... think about it. If she got rid of all those groups of Alacrians who had their mana signature snuffed out or whatever, if she used her power to take away all their mana or whatever, she's got to be pretty drained. That's why she was like kind of wearily like talking to Meldry at the time, because she was still kind of, exhausted. Before they left, though, Mela approached me, and each step sending a flicker of pain across her face, and wrapping her arms around me. Thank you, she whispered. I'll come find you soon, I said, growing emotional and then embarrassed. Get some rest. What was I going to say? I forget what I was going to say. Shit. As we watched them pick their way over the rubble behind a detachment of Earthborn soldiers, they passed Claire, who was standing over the prone Mana Beast machine, which now looked little more than a tattered griffin corpse. She activated a handful of heavy bangles that ran up both her arms and a sort of wide belt around her waist, and the machine began vanishing one part at a time. Dimension artifacts? I asked, walking up to her as she finished. She regarded me thoughtfully before saying, yes, though not simply that. They order the components in a specific way, allowing activation of the dimension artifacts to store and then automatically rebuilding the exoform. Wait, bruh, so you telling me it can rebuild inside there and be reused? The artifacts were specifically designed for use by a non-mage. I can't say I entirely understand the principles, but it works. As long as you activate everything in the appropriate sequence, that is. I stared at the machine, my mind spinning futilely as I tried to understand it. After a few seconds, I echoed, exoform? She tapped one of the bangles. The suits, anyway. I had to overclock mine, and something burned out, so it won't be of any use to anyone until it gets repaired. I should check in with the rest of the Beast Corps. The Beast Corps! The Beast Corps! Then report back to Gideon. Thank you. I blurted out in a little awkwardly. I blurted out a little awkwardly as she stared, walking away. She didn't stop or even turn around, only raised one bangle-laden arm above the head in farewell as she said, "Glad to be of help, or glad to be able to help." I watched her leave, feeling a sense of wonder at everything that had just happened. My mood immediately soured again when she had to walk around the corpse of Balgrimud and the other guards who had been stationed along the outer wall. Their deaths were so senseless, I thought, unable to clear my head of the image of their sudden, unstoppable demise. I turned back to the Earthborn Institute, but the motion conjured stars behind my eyes, and I suddenly felt dizzy. I took a step, missed my footing, and went painfully down one knee. Slowly, like a tree just starting to fall, I tipped over onto my side and lay on the broken courtyard tiles. So much has happened so quickly, and I pushed myself so hard that I could feel my mind and body both succumbing to the strain. It was almost like I was watching it happen from above, seeing myself lying there, each breath coming in a labored gasp, my eyes vacant. But I didn't panic. I didn't really feel or think anything at all, just let myself go blank. Okay, so she's kind of like soaking it in, just like, okay, all this stuff that happened, kind of just taking a breather, soaking it all in. You said, let's see, Mikey, you said she had not used it at all, really. I didn't know what you were talking about. It was probably a lot earlier. You had said that. Iron Man, Power Ranger suits. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Iron Man, Power Rangers, whatever. But it's more like Iron Man, though, because it's more sleek. It's more technologically advanced. So Power Rangers is like big and bulky or whatever. Although Power Rangers would be good too because they got the uniforms that they wear. Because I remember I watched Power Rangers when I was a kid, and I know they had like the little wristwatch or whatever, and they like press it or whatever. Power Rangers, go Power Rangers, some shit like that they did, and they like transformed their body into suits and shit, and made them more durable. Remember all the sparks and shit? Every single fight, any sort of slash, they just got all these sparks just flying everywhere and shit. I'm just like, where are all these sparks coming from? Like, this supposed to be like leather and shit, and got all these sparks. It's like you hitting metal. I'm just like, man. I never even think about it. I just thought the sparks was just kind of how to let you know that they got hurt. Oh, the sparks. Oh, I'm hurt. Or their suit is like halfway on and like, falling apart. Oh, I'm hurt. Man, Power Rangers was a shit back in the day. I think my favorite was like Power Rangers Ninja Storm, where they were like kind of like ninjas. Anyway, kind of goes back in the day. But they made so many different Power Rangers, and then I remember like the newer Power Rangers was whack. But anyway, so she collapsed and she's kind of soaking it all in. All right, so then someone was forcing something down my throat, and I sat up, choking as a jolt of mana sparked inside of me. A dwarven medic kneeled over me, an empty elixir container in his fist as he spoke soft, consoling words. Boo was next to him, one eye on mine and the other distrustfully on the medic. I'm fine, I insisted, blinking away the moment of emptiness and refocusing on what happened around me. Please, help the others. Many more people had appeared, coming up from within the Earthborn Institute. Mom was healing the last few injured dwarves, and she didn't seem to have noticed my collapse yet, which I was thankful for. Others, doctors, herbalists, and non-emitter healers, were now bustling around dealing with the wounds that weren't as life-threatening. I stood despite the medic's protest, shaking away the last of the cobwebs, although I was tired and sore, and my core ached from using so much mana, even more than would usually be possible for me through the use of the stored mana orbs. The elixir had reinvigorated me. I gestured for Boo's help, and we began assisting the Earthborns as best we could. The doors were efficient, and the Earthborn Institute was, of course, full of the best minds in the city. So, although Balgrimud is a horrible name, man. I swear, that's just horrific. Balgrimud's group was a total loss. Surprisingly, few of the Hornfeld soldiers died during the attack, and the earth attribute mages rebuilt the wall within an hour. Oh, they rebuilt the wall in an hour? Oh, well, yeah, they got magic. I keep forgetting about that. Magic, you can do a lot of stuff with magic. I need to rest and gather mana. Then I'll head out into the city to see what else I can do to help, Mom said tiredly after we'd been dismissed, and many thanks to the Cornelian Earthborn himself, Lord of the Earthborn clan. I bit my lip, unsure whether to voice the thought that had been growing in my mind as we helped the cleanup effort. The words built and built, though, until they burst out in a rush. Mom, I'm really worried about Arthur, and I think we should. I cut myself off almost as suddenly as I started, looking around nervously. Mom eyed me with concern. Let's speak at home. I nodded, relieved that she understood, and we wound our way down into the tunnels of the... I wonder if this is because of what Sarah's has said to her, or is it just because of everything that's happened with the attack and stuff. So yeah, Mom, I'm really worried about Arthur, and I think we should... Let's speak at home. I nodded, relieved that she understood, and we wound our way down into the tunnels of the residential area. After Mom let us in and Boo threw himself down in front of the extinguished fireplace, I continued. I think we should check on Arthur with the stone thing, the creeper stone. She's calling it the creeper stone, like Regis said. Bro, creeper stone, it's what fits anyway. So the creeper stone. I think we should check on Arthur with the stone thing, the creeper stone. Mom's brows flared dramatically, and she glanced around as if searching for anyone who might overhear us even there. Ellie, your brother went to great lengths to hide himself even from us. Right, okay, they get it. Ellie, your brother went to great lengths to hide himself even from us. As she said this, she couldn't help but let a hint of regret-laced bitterness seep out. I knew exactly how she felt. We would be betraying his trust to search him out, and we don't know if that would even work anyway. From her tone, I realized immediately that Mom wasn't trying to convince me. She was trying to convince herself. So she wants to try to see him too. I had been about to sit down, but I stopped halfway. See, this is crazy though, because if it does work and just anybody is just there, they might be able to see it. But can you see it unless you're touching the stone though? I don't know. Because the way that Regis and Kara had acted when Arthur had used the stone, Arthur was the only one that was able to see what was going on, and not Ephiodus, in Ellenwire, back when they all got obliterated, with Aldir using that technique. And so I don't think they was able to see. So I don't think anybody would be able to see it other than his mom and Ellie. So yeah, I don't think they had to worry about somebody else finding out though. But if they find out, then they could be interrogated and forced to tell where he's at. So yeah, they can't do that. That's just bad. That's bad. Not smart. So I realized from her tone that she wasn't trying to convince me, she was trying to convince herself. I had been about to sit down, but I stopped halfway, straightened, and began pacing the small space. Mom, there was just no way Art could have foreseen everything that is being thrown at us now. The dragons disappearing, turning Ceres and all the other Alacrians back against us. Wherever he is, he didn't give anyone else, us, the chance to guard or protect him. I just want to make sure he's okay. Mom bit the inside of her cheek, her emotional struggle visible on her face. On the one hand, she was right. Arthur clearly didn't want us or anyone else to find him. But on the other hand, he wasn't perfect, and he could make mistakes just like anyone else. Since he'd gotten his new guide rune, she knows about the new guide rune? I didn't even know that. Since he'd gotten his new guide rune, I'd seen him pulled farther and farther away from everyone around him, even me and Mom. When he used it, it was like he became a slave to logical calculation. I couldn't help the feeling that maybe he needed protection from himself as much as Agrona. When Mom let out the breath she'd been holding in a rush, I knew she'd given in. as much to her own impulses as mine. "Come on," she said, speaking quietly. She hurried from the room and down the short hall that led to her bedroom. My pulse quickened as sparks shot through. I wonder what they're going to see, though. My pulse quickened as sparks shot through my nerves. I double-checked that we locked the door. When we come inside, then gestured for Boo to remain. But you know what? I will say this, though. Even if they did find out where he was at, it doesn't really change the situation if they know where he's at. No, it does. It does because they probably don't even have to be tortured. A grown-up could probably easily just like touch their foreheads and get their memories. So they don't even have to be tortured in order to find out where he's at. But then again, at the same time, if they would have to get captured in order for them to know, okay, what I'm trying to say is they would have to be captured in order for a grown-up to be able to use them or use the information. But that's going to be bad regardless. So whether they get captured and he used the information, that's bad. If they get captured and they don't even know, that's still bad because they can be used as a bargaining chip to control Arthur. So, so it's just it's bad either way. So at the end of the day, they can't get captured regardless. Whether they find out where he's at or they don't, they can't allow themselves to get captured. So it's just bad regardless. And I lost where I'm at, so give me a second. Okay, so here am I. She said, "Come on." She hurried from the room and down the short hall that led to her bedroom. My pulse quickened as sparks shot through my nerves. I double-checked that we locked the door when we come inside, then gestured for Boo to remain in the living room before following Mom. By the time I reached her room, she'd already dug the dull, many-faceted stone out of its hiding place. She was sitting on the floor of her bed, cupping the relic in both hands. She didn't look at me as I sat beside her. I didn't offer her any pressure or comfort. I didn't say anything at all. As an emitter, only her healing magic could conjure. Oh, right. Ellie can't even use it because it needs ether. That's right. As an emitter, only her healing magic could conjure the spark the spark of ether needed to activate the relic. But I could tell she wanted to check on Arthur just as much as I did, and so I didn't press her. After a minute or more of tense silence, she took a deep breath and channeled her mana. It moved across the stone's surface without any obvious interaction. The mana simply passed it by, with none being imbued into the relic. Regardless, the stone activated with an intangible sensation that couldn't be simplified down to just something I was seeing or hearing, or even feeling with my core. It was more like the magic of it brushed up against every particle of my being. Mom's eyes went glassy, and I could tell she was somewhere else. "Show me," I said, more pleading than I had meant to sound. She released the relic with her right hand and clasped mine. I felt her magic as something weird and imperial. How the fuck do you say this word? Imperial? Ephemeral. Okay, I was wrong with that. Lasting for a very short time. I thought it was like something that was like translucent or see-through. Anyway, ephemeral. Weird and ephemeral and distantly other as it pulled me. My instinct was to resist, but I forced myself to relax. In my mind's eye, I saw myself being pulled away from the room, rushing after a motive power that I knew was Mom. We flew up through the cavern ceiling and then the desert above, and rushed across Darv in a blink. My mind rapidly began. My already rapidly beating heart only hammered faster and harder as we traced the path of our destination, entering a small, roughly constructed chamber containing a pool of glowing liquid and little else. Sitting cross-legged in the pool, Arthur and Sylvie meditated side by side with the keystone hovering in front of them. Neither moved, giving no indication of what they were experiencing. I knew their minds must have been inside the keystone, trapped, at least until it is solved. I thought with a sense of foreboding, but they were unharmed. No one had found them. I let out a relieved breath and distantly felt Mom squeezing my hand. I wasn't sure how long we stayed, but it wasn't long. When Mom began pulling away and withdrawing from the relic, I was pulled along in her wake. My eyes blinked open. Winsome stood in the doorway. Okay. His inhuman eyes fixed on the stone. What the fuck is Winsome doing, man? Okay. His inhuman eyes are fixed on the stone. Mom gave a yelp of surprise. How long were they there? Mom gave a yelp of surprise and tried to hide the relic behind her back. Forgive me, the Asura said, offering a very slight bow, for both startling you and for my tardiness. Events conspired to keep me from immediately fulfilling Arthur's request, but I am here to take you to Ephiodus as promised. Mom and I exchanged glances. Of course, Mom said, her voice a little higher than usual. We're all packed. Just let me bring the Jinn relic. Here we go. Bring the Jinn relic, Winsome said, now commanding. Mom froze. Aldir told me of his experience of being watched while cleansing Eleanor. I suspected this is how it was done, correct? It may prove useful, especially if you're able to see Arthur with it. Here they go, man. Here they go. Why the fuck Winsome of all people? I felt my breath catch. How does he know? Mom hesitated. I'm afraid I'm not comfortable with... We are allies, Winsome interrupted, his tone hardening. He took a step forward and held out his hand. I shall hold on to it for you. Then you can gather your belongings and we will go. No, bro, you got me so fucked up. I shall hold on to it for you. We're allies. You don't give a fuck about them. The path to Ephiodus is difficult to navigate at this time, but still manageable for me, if few others. We need to get through before anything else changes. Mom still didn't hand the relic over, and Winsome's expression darkened ever so slightly. I held out my own hand to her. Her chestnut eyes narrowed as she looked down at it, expression tightly guarded. After a short pause, she set the relic in my palm. Winsome gave his hand an impatient shake. I felt for the reservoir of magic inside the relic. I couldn't sense ether, but I felt the way it moved against the mana. Not daring to gather my mana before acting, I let out a surge of pure mana into the heart of the relic, as sudden and as forceful as I could manage. Is she trying to destroy it, bro? Yo, is she trying to destroy it? I let out a surge of pure mana inside the heart of the relic, as sudden and as forceful as I could manage. It cracked, splintered through the many facets. Slowly, I dragged my gaze away from the broken chunk of rock to Winsome, whose only reaction was a bruh, that is some fucking, that's some killer shit, man. Damn, that's how she do it. She's like, this how it's gonna be? How about nobody can use it? Because I don't trust you, Winsome. The fuck out of here. And guess what? Arthur can always come back and just rewind time on the fucking relic and repair it if he wanted to. So, yeah, that's some smart shit, man. That's smart. And the motherfucker Winsome just tightening his jaw. Sheesh. It cracked, splintering through the many facets. Slowly, I dragged my gaze away from the broken chunk of rock to Winsome, whose only reaction was a tightening of his jaw. Unwise, young Eleanor. Lord Indref would not appreciate this outward sign of your distrust. Not when he is risking so much to keep you safe. Whoo! Winsome shook his head, oozing disappointment. Nevertheless, my role is clear. Come, Ephiodus awakes. I stood, cleared my throat, and tossed the stone under the bed. Winsome watched it roll, but made no move to pick it up. Instead, turning on his heel and marching promptly away. My hands shook as Mom laced her fingers through mine. I could only hope I'd done the right thing. Mom, yeah, you did the right thing. That was smart. It's not that big of a deal. Arthur can repair it. But then again, I don't know if they know where he's at, because they said that they got dragged to where he was at like really, really quickly. So maybe they don't even know where he's at. Yeah, Mom squeezed my hand again, supportively, and nodded. Okay. Whoo, man, oh man. The cleansing. That motherfucker said the cleansing of Ellenwire. Yo, that shit crazy. But this is cool. I mean, Ellie, man. Ellie's just getting W's, man. She getting W's every chapter. Like, even this chapter, like, I thought it was going to end, it's going to be like, oh, shit, here they're about to use that shit against them in some type of way. And then Ellie's like, no, I'm about to destroy this shit. And just Ellie with the W. So that's dope. But, this chapter, okay, so you got Sarah talking to Melsry. And then basically you got Ellie and Alice finding, seeing Arthur and make sure he's okay. So other than that, not much else happened in this chapter. So I'll probably give this chapter, the last part bumped it up. So I'll probably give this chapter a 7.5 out of 10. It was going to be a 7, but that last part was dope. So I'll give this like a 7.5 out of 10. But this is cool. So they're going to Ephiodus, and they probably won't be able to come back until Arthur comes out of the Keystone. So I'm surprised. I will say this: I'm surprised that they can actually still, get over to Ephiodus. I guess maybe what's going on isn't like a complete thing yet. It's like not complete, and so experienced people can still navigate and get to Ephiodus, but it's not complete yet. So it's not completely sealed off. But I wonder if whatever they're doing with the rift, if it's going to impact Ephiodus to where it doesn't have the mana drawn in from Earth, or not Earth, from the human world or whatever. It's not going to be able to draw in the mana from there and be able to, keep things afloat. Maybe mana is going to get weaker over time in Ephiodus because of what they're doing with the rift, and it's going to cause people to worry, and they want to take action sooner. Because things are kind of like breaking down a little bit or something. Or maybe there's not as much mana in the atmosphere anymore or something like that. So I'm kind of curious about that. But this is cool. This is a cool chapter, though. This is a cool chapter. It was cool. Let's see what you're saying, Logan. Arthur's going to have a shit ton of work to do. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's a lot of shit going on. But he got preparations. And I'm pretty sure the preparation isn't just the clone, signature that he got to kind of confuse people to not know where he's at. I'm pretty sure he probably made some other preparations. Maybe he talked to Mordain again before all this had happened. Maybe he told Ren to do something, because remember, out of everybody who knew where he was going to be at, Ellie knew where he was going to be at, and Ren knew where he was going to be at. Those are the only two people who knew where he's at. And so Ren he maybe sent their message to Ren to do something. So he probably got some things in place. So hopefully things don't get much more crazy. I'm just wondering, how long is it going to be for him to get out of the Keystone? Because he's going to get out. How long is it going to take for him to get out of the Keystone? And then I'm also wondering, when he gets out of the Keystone, is he still going to be strong enough at that point to be able to make so much of a difference to where Agrona can't defeat him, Kezis can't defeat him, and is he going to be that powerful, or is it going to be like he's going to get the knowledge, but it's like anything else. When he gets that knowledge, he still got to figure some things out. So even if it's like how he got God Step, right? He got the knowledge and got the God Rune to be able to use God Step, but he didn't get as strong as he is with using God Step until he got the training with 4 steps, until he got more aware, and he can go at a longer distance, and he can go through solid objects, and then he got to the point where he can stab through the pathways with his sword. So he's like over time getting more powerful and getting more use out of the God Room. And it's the same thing with Realm Heart. How at first he was just using Realm Heart to look at all the mana and all the ether and seeing how it's all interacting with one another. And then he was able to use it to, push back other people's spells, disrupt their spells and shit. And so he just needs to he probably still won't be strong enough, and probably needs to get more understanding and work on this other type of power, I should say. Because you got ether, you got mana, you got ether, you got Vivum, Avum, Spatium, and then you got Fate. So it's probably just gonna be like another sort of, maybe he might get like a Fate God Rune or some shit, or maybe he might just get like a regular God Rune, and then I don't know. I don't know. So I'm wondering how strong he's gonna be, even if he gets out of it. Like, will he be strong enough to make that much of a difference to where they can't fuck with him? But other than that, like I said, we got Chul. See what Chul's gonna do. It doesn't seem like Mordane's gonna do anything. And then his family's gonna be in Ephiodus. I think because of them being in Ephiodus, I think that they might still be in danger though because of Kezis. But then again, he's probably already preparing for that. He'll be out. You think one more chapter? Oh, I don't think one more. I think okay, so I think that it could be a long time before he's out. But then again, if you think about writing and with Turtle Meat, it's like, okay, how long can we go without Arthur being involved until the readers start getting bored of the story? Like, okay, like, when the fuck is Arthur getting out? Like, Arthur needs to come back already. Like, I'm tired of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's going to keep him away for a very long time, but I think it could be... I mean, let me see. When was the last time we got an Arthur POV? We got an Arthur POV... Let's see. It was... What chapter was it? So you got Manaless. That's chapter 468. Divergence. So you got Divergence. So that was chapter 467. So that was 3 chapters ago. So it's been 3 chapters. So it's been 3 chapters since we had an Arthur POV. I think that we might go... I don't know. I think we might go maybe another 3 or 4 chapters before we get Arthur POV. Some more things maybe got, get put into place before we have another POV is what I'm thinking. But I don't know. I see Arthur not coming out of the Keystone though for like... I don't see him coming out of the Keystone for like another like maybe 15 chapters? Maybe 15? That's what I'm thinking. But I just think it's gonna take a lot longer. I think we might get another POV of him being in his like dream scenario. I think we're gonna get another POV of that. But I don't think that POV is going to end with him getting out. I think that POV is going to end with like some type of understanding, or he figures something out, and then we're going to transition again and go back to, I don't know, Arthur, Alice and Ellie and Ephiodus. Maybe they're going to meet Kezis for the first time and see how their interaction with Kezis is. Maybe they might meet Meyer and see their interaction with Meyer, and Meyer's like, oh, so this is his mom and his sister or whatever, and so and so. Maybe I might get some interactions with them like that. And then Sarah's might come into view, and she might have some other preparations that she's doing with the other Alacrians or something. I think it's going to be a while. I think it's going to be a while. I'm going to say 15 chapters. So probably around chapter 485 is when he might get out. He might. But I definitely see this going on for at least like 10 more chapters with him not getting out, though. I think we're going to get some more set up. That's what I think. But anyway, the chapter was cool. Once again, man, y'all give me some likes. Appreciate the likes, man. Need the likes for the channel. And I'm gonna get up out of here, but I appreciate y'all joining in. This is a cool chapter. If it takes 2 chapters, it's gonna get boring. I know, I get it though. I get it. Like, how much longer could it take before it starts getting boring? I don't think it's boring yet though. I think this chapter is really slow, but I don't think it's more. I think I'm gonna be really interested in seeing or reading, like, you know, the interaction between Kez's and his family. You know, seeing if they meet Meyer. I think that stuff would be interesting. See if that other guy, the other what was he? Was he a dragon? I think he was a dragon. See if that other dragon who gave Arthur the pearls, maybe he might get involved and he might meet his mom and his sister, and maybe they might do some shit to where, like, I'm telling you, this can still be really interesting. But if that guy gets involved and he meets his mom and his sister and he starts doing some shit to where he gets involved to where, like, maybe some plan is happening, maybe Kez is trying to use them as, like, you know, as like a bargaining chip, or like as like a contingency plan if Arthur doesn't do what he wants him to do, where he has his mother and his sister there, and then maybe the other dragon might get involved. It's like, no, I'm not gonna let you do that, Kez. And maybe he does like some battle or some shit, and like now Arthur's still in the Keystone, but then now there's like an internal little fight that is happening inside of Epheotis. At the same time, the rift is being clogged up and stuff. Like, that could be really crazy. That shit could be really, really crazy. You know, so like, I can see some shit like that happening, and that could be really interesting. You know, like, something's about to happen to where Kez is about to take them and do something or whatever, and then he, like, intervenes, the other dragon intervenes or whatever, and protects them, and then now you got one clan against another dragon clan, and then now people probably maybe already chose sides, where you got, like, okay, out of the Great Eight, we got, like, 3 of the Great Eight are against Kez's, because he's trying to do some shit with Alice and Ellie. You know, and then maybe Meyer betrays him or something. Like, oh, how can you do this? You know, like, it can be crazy. It can be crazy as hell. So we don't know. It can still be really, really interesting, even without Arthur being involved. Just because of the things that's kind of like set up. You know, we got the little things that's set up, and then some things start happening, some motion is going on. But if we start getting some Cecilia POVs, some Nico POVs, I'm gonna be like, fuck this shit, man. This is gonna be boring. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking about. But listen, I'm out of here, yo. Y'all have a good night. Talk to you in your next video. Peace.